Who's they? I'm gonna call you. I don't want an ambulance.
All right. I put your coffee in there already. The two on the top I had in the freezer for a few minutes. All right.
Thank you.
I'll be back.
Tell Teddy I'll see him tonight. All right, I'm back, Biffy.
Show with Howard Monroe.
Are you traveling? Working a little bit too much? Is your fur baby starting to get a little shaggy? Let Dirty Paws be your one-stop shop for all of your pet care needs. Stop in and see us at 202 18th Street or give us a call at 304-639-7754 to schedule your appointments for dog grooming, doggy daycare, and dog boarding today.
Attorney Tom McIntyre.
Life. It may knock you down, but you don't have to stay that way. I'm Tom McIntyre. I'm a bankruptcy attorney, and I'm here to help you. Give us a call, and we'll send you a copy of my free book, When Bad Things Happen to Good People. It's an interesting read, and it'll explain bankruptcy to you like no other book does. Give us a call. We're here to help.
Call Thomas E. McIntyre and Associates at 304-232-8600. Allow us to help put you back on the road to financial success.
For all of your IT needs, visit OmniPerforms.com. Omni Strategic Technologies, the only IT company that the watchdog trusts.
Hello, everyone. It's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. I'm a private real estate investor who can solve your real estate problems fast for cash. Do you want to sell and just be done with it? Okay, great. I buy vacant properties, boarded up houses, pre-foreclosures, and inherited properties. I also buy apartment buildings, rental portfolios, divorce homes.
Alrighty, thank you.
2000, 614-470-2000.
CA House Music has all the gear to make your music legendary. With all the best gear, including Fender, Epiphone, Yamaha, and more, CA House will have you rocking in no time. Get the most for your money with everyday low prices. And we meet or beat internet pricing. Play before you buy and let our product specialists help you pick out the instrument that's right for you. CA House Music, supporting local musicians since 1872. Play music for life.
Hello, everyone, from the Watchdog. I'm the Storm Tracker, Darnell Foster, with a look at your local weather forecast for your Thursday. Mostly cloudy skies, a widely scattered shower, a daytime high near 80 degrees. Mostly cloudy overnight with a low near 63. Clouds holding strong for your Friday, with a few scattered showers with temperatures in the mid-70s for daytime highs. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm the Storm Tracker, Darnell Foster.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors.
News, information, conversation, controversy, and fun. This is the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe.
66 degrees at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport. Still 61 here at my home studios in the Elm Grove section of Wheeling. 62 degrees at the Robinson Auto Group Studios downtown Wheeling in the heart of the Ohio Valley. Cloudy all around the valley this morning. It's going to be a partly cloudy day, maybe a peak of sun here and there, but mainly a cloudy day. Some showers possible later in the day today. Daytime high 77. It's going to be another summer-like day today. Among the stories we are talking about this morning, the website Axios is reporting that Senator Manchin has told progressives they can pick one program that supports families, then they have to get rid of the rest if they want his support. All right, there are three basic family-supporting programs President Biden has in his package of proposals. The progressives have been told by Manchin, you can have one. You can have one. Just pick one. Pick one. We're looking at that report. Marshall County Delegate Lisa Zukoff is going to join us in a bit. She is one of 18 incumbents in the state who could face another incumbent in their primaries because of redistricting that has to be done, and also the new single-member districts in West Virginia. We'll hear what she has to say. West Liberty University President Franklin Evans has been accused by the faculty of serial plagiarism. He has responded. The Board of Governors has responded. We'll talk about that coming up a bit. New poll out, more than a third of Americans think we should do away with the Supreme Court. If the Supreme Court is issuing rulings the American public doesn't agree with, we should just get rid of the Supreme Court. That's what more than a third of Americans have to say. So that's a bit of what we are talking about this morning. I never know, Biff, when I open the show, what it's going to be that's going to get people motivated, all right? I'm never totally sure. We've got Senator Manchin. We've got the redistricting issue. We've got a lot of things happening on Capitol Hill. And yet the texts are still coming in. People asking me, why do I give the temperature at the airport? Oh, God. You work so hard to put together a show that actually has meaning and importance. And why do you give the temperature at the airport? I don't know why what's the importance of the airport? And I repeat again, as our meteorologist Aaron Myler did earlier, the airport is the official temperature. Well, it's the official temperature of the Upper Ohio Valley. When you look in the history books and see what the temperature on any given day was, you look at the airport. So it's the official temp. I give it to you that way. Also, I give it to you because it's a higher elevation. Airport is higher elevation. Here at my home studios, we're down lower elevation. The studios downtown Wheeling are right on the river, so it gives you a sense of the difference in elevation. I know that. I just can't believe I have to have that explanation or argument. Text line is open if you want to use it, 304-214-1600, 304-214-1600, Watchdog Radio Network text line. Hey, Biffy, we got a little bit of support here. After people were criticizing me, it's nice support. Mr. Monroe, you do fine. Thank you. Mr. Monroe, you do fine. Those people who complain seem to always complain. You and Biff keep up the good work. In the murders of Tom Strush and his wife, that is an ongoing investigation. Tread lightly. And again, there's no question about that. To the texter who says, well, why don't you have more information about that? I hear all of the gossip. I hear all of the rumors. Some of it I hear from what I consider to be legitimate sources. Some just street talk. Until that information becomes public or until it becomes verified by law enforcement, I'm not going to get involved in this. It's a horrific story over there. The double murder that occurred of Tom Strush and his wife, and then the fire of their building afterwards, and two people charged with extorting them of money, but maybe not directly involved in the murder. I'm being very careful. As I said, I know a lot of talk show hosts who don't care about being careful, but I do. I do. I try to be responsible. I don't know why I do. Talk show hosts and responsible are not two words you often hear together. All right, I want to talk about, it's hard for me to believe it's been 10 years ago, and then on the other hand, it almost has gone from my mind. About 10 years ago, the Occupy Wall Street movement began. It was kind of a response to the Great Recession, and you saw Occupy Wall Street, then the movement kind of spread to other parts of the country and so on. It's been a decade ago. We focused on it a lot back then. Haven't talked about it at all in recent years. There's a new book out, Are We the 99%, The Occupy Movement, Feminism and Intersectionality. It's written by sociologist and activist Heather Hurwitz, who is with us this morning. Heather, good morning. Welcome to the show. I'm sorry to keep you waiting, but good morning.
Good morning, Howard. I'm excited to be here.
So this is one of those things that, 10 years ago, we talked about it almost every day. And now when I saw your book cross my desk, it was like, oh, I remember that. Whatever happened to the Occupy movement?
The Occupy movement kicked off this period of intense protest over the last 10 years, so we have to give a nod to that. We know the 99% versus the 1% from this movement, which has influenced so many other people, all the way up to Bernie Sanders' presidential campaigns. And the movement has, made those impacts. There were some tensions and issues within the movement, and many people recreated their friendship and activist networks and went on to do other things. The movement's transformed. People jumped into Black Lives Matter. They've done a whole lot of other things since then. And there's a lot we can still learn from the movement, which is why I wrote the book.
I'm going to offer one of my own analyses of this first and see if it's what you have found or not. One of the hallmarks of the Occupy movement was that it was sort of I don't know what the technical word would be. I don't want to say disorganized, but it was not a top to bottom, leader on down, here's the leader, here are the followers kind of thing. It was more of a crowdsourced kind of movement, I guess, which to me always presaged its own doom, that if you don't have some sort of order within it, it can't work. Is that a fair assessment or not? And you can tell me no, it's okay. I don't mind.
No, the movement was against the kind of embedded hierarchies that are destructive in our world. The movement wanted to get away from the default ways that we attribute so much power to certain people who are the richer people or the more educated people. But you're right, it was a very voluntary movement. It was what you call a leaderless movement, or the technical term is a horizontal movement.
That's the phrase I was looking for, yeah.
Without that structure, it was difficult to get a diverse leadership and new voices in there, which is what they really wanted. But we have learned over time in so many different ways. We learn it by listening to the radio, by reading the paper, by looking who's the people making change in government, to kind of fall back on certain people. And in the height of the intensity of the Occupy movement, they did the same thing. I found that they were recreating that, even though a lot of people didn't want to.
So the movement, the nature of the movement itself may have argued a bit against its own later success. Well, let me phrase it this way. Was the Occupy movement successful? I mean, as you point out, it doesn't really exist. I don't know if it does or not, but we don't hear it anymore under the title Occupy movement. But it did kind of start off, it kick-started this more awareness of the wealth gap, more awareness of the power gap, more awareness of the powerlessness of many of us. And a lot of that is evidence now in other forms of activity. So was it successful simply because it spawned other things, or was it not successful?
Well, absolutely it did those things. And some of the younger people out there, millennials, those who came into political life perhaps during the Trump administration, probably don't know that history. So I think that's important to recognize. And it was the first movement to use social media extensively for a national movement. It's hard to think back, but 10 years ago, we weren't doing organizing events on Facebook. People were doing Twitter workshops in the encampments to teach people how to do Twitter as part of the movement. And it did get people back in the streets. I think it's a movement that really made protesting something that's been a part of our daily life over the last 10 years. For those reasons, I think we have to recognize those achievements of the movement. Of course, it didn't have the staying power that a movement like the Black Lives Matter movement had. It didn't reach into government offices like Bernie Sanders' campaign has. It wasn't a feminist movement, and we saw over the last years the ferocity of the Women's March, and even now the current reproductive justice movements. So in those ways, it did not incorporate some of the real concerns of Americans and wasn't able to tie those in, even though it sought to be this kind of big tent movement for 99% of people, for everyone to encompass these things. It did not do that.
And I think there was something about the movement 10 years ago that was put offish to some, even though they probably represented the 99%, a lot of the 99% didn't feel comfortable in watching that movement.
That's right. People questioned it, and that's why the title of my book is a question. Are we the 99%? Because when I went out to these protests and talked with dozens and dozens of people, they said, we like this economic message, but there are so many things about our experience of inequality, the racism that we've experienced in our lives, or the discrimination particular to our own experience of poverty, be it in West Virginia or wherever the work situation is that they're encountering, that the movement wasn't getting specific about that. And so people really kind of said, am I part of this? Why is this so focused on the big banks? Should it be? What about my daily life? And so that's why many people told me, we need to have a much more complex view of class inequality. And if the movement had brought that in, I think more people would have felt really more included.
The current Democratic Party is facing internal struggles right now between its progressive side and the centrist side. Certainly Senator Manchin from West Virginia has been a key player in that battle, in that struggle. Are there lessons that could be learned from the Occupy movement about, or are there lessons to be learned, good or bad, about getting together about people who have sort of the same general principles but different ideas how to get there, how they can work together?
Yes. In the Occupy movement, when that main movement message about the banks and about the 99% didn't resonate with people, they created these separate subgroups and really broke away from that main movement energy, created these separate groups. People felt more included in them, groups like the People of Color Working Group and Women Occupying Wall Street. And there were these separate subgroups that were really active, really vibrant, and bringing some really important critiques to the table, and yet the main movement did not respond to them, did not work, did not even, stop the rails, stop everything. We've got this movement that's kind of splintering here. We need to change something. When the movement didn't do that, it really harmed some of that main movement energy when people started to pull away. And that could be the lesson for the Democratic Party, that so many people are pulling away, those internal struggles. Maybe it's time to change the core of things and change that guiding central framework to really include those people who are raising these critiques.
Part of the problem that I see in today's political environment is that Republicans, for lack of a better phrase, are very unified in their messaging, and they're better about telling people why their side is right. The other side, left, Democrats, Occupy, however you want to phrase it, tends to be more scatterguns, tends to be more in disagreement, don't have a good coherent way of pulling people together. I talk to folks and I say things like, don't you think there's something wrong with, X percent, small percent of the wealth being held in the hands of huge percent of the wealth being held in the hands of small numbers of people? And they go, yeah, that's true. But then when you want to turn that into some kind of policy or political conversation, they kind of get lost in it. I don't know what I'm asking there, but it just, maybe you can see where I'm going.
I have observed the same thing, Howard. I feel that the analysis of how we've got to this place, how we've got to this kind of runaway capitalism, the 1%, this unregulated, global superclass of people is really kind of out of control. I mean, the Occupy movement raised this, and those lopsided dynamics haven't really changed. What I think the left is, for lack of a better phrase, is trying to do is bring the truth about that and the real complexity, which is what I think people need to come together to recognize, since the 1970s, there has been a radical shift in how we supply goods and services to the U.S. and globalization and offshoring and the lack of regulation of huge companies that have not contributed back to the worker. I don't think that story is well known or accepted on the right. We saw that in so much praise for Donald Trump. I mean, a huge representative of the 1%. And if we would dig into, why is it that we even have this 1%, I think there still is a lot that 99% could get together around. But that deep, real story about how our country has gotten to be so lopsided is not something talked about enough and in enough depth, and maybe it's not something people really want to hear. It's a tough story.
And it's been a slow, gradual change in this country, but people have become, there's a political reality that is different than the reality on the ground. There may indeed be the 99% versus a 1%. I think that's, statistically, we can look at that. We can see it. We can see the handful of families and the handful of individuals that own the wealth and that really control things compared to the rest of us, and we're all the rest of us, I think, after that. And yet, the political reality is the 1%ers and those who are in their thrall have the power, which makes it difficult. I know we're a democracy, and I know we ought to be able to, turn things around, but we haven't really been able to do that very well. Yes, we responded to the absolute anarchy of Donald Trump by eventually kicking him out. That's what happened. But then look at what that created. Look at the number of people that are still saying that he won the election and so on. Yes, we had 8 years under Barack Obama that there was a little period of time where maybe we felt some progress was being made. But right now, I mean, the progress of this country has continually been rightward in terms of political power, not in terms of the people, but in terms of political power.
I see it too, Howard. I don't know the exact solution to it. I think the politicization of individuals is important. The work that from the Occupy movement through all of the other movements that we've seen has brought new awareness and new work that people are doing, not just even in social movements or in politics, but in their workplaces, in their families, in their friendship groups and civic organizations. I think those debates are happening. I think you and I, it sounds like we would like for that to translate into policy. It might not have gotten there yet, but I think there has been a culture shift. Maybe that will lead to some shifts in government. We have seen a shift in the Democratic Party.
And yet we have Senator Manchin just yesterday, according to the Axios newsletter, saying to the progressives, Biden has three basic family supporting policies in his plan. The child care tax credit, paid family medical leave, and I forget the third one. Three basic, and Manchin says, pick one. We're down, this is where we're at. We're down to pick one. There are all kinds of ways you pick one way we're going to help families, and then we're going to go on about our lives the rest of the way. That's where we're at these days. I know all I'm doing is showing my frustrations sometimes, but it's just hard for me to believe this is where we're at.
I mean, I don't think that Senator Manchin has spent time with families to know that it's not a pick one in families, right?
Yeah.
And it's not a pick one when you are trying during the pandemic to keep afloat. And you need the support that you need, and to me that says he's out of touch with the way that families and work and really our work lives and our family lives are so intertwined with each other. It's not pick one for families, so why should it be for Senator Manchin?
Right, it's just bizarre. And my audience knows, and I say this every time I talk about Senator Manchin, I have always liked Joe Manchin, going back to the days when he was Secretary of State and then Governor, and of course now Senator. I've known him personally. I have a personal relationship with him. And it's just, it's staggering to me to hear him say that. Pick one. I can't believe it. Hey, Heather, before I let you go, I'm curious. In doing your research for your book, did you talk to any of the, I'll call them founders, or any of the original Occupy movement folks? And if you did, what do they think? Do they feel like they made progress, or are they discouraged and feel like it was a flash in the pan and went away?
I did speak with many people who were at the original Zuccotti Park encampment in New York City, a few blocks from the New York Stock Exchange where it started, and people who were part of the organizing for that first initial protest. It kind of lit up everything else around the country and the world. And I find people had a lot of positive things to say. This was a time that changed their lives. It was life-changing for people who were involved in this movement. And there were a lot of takeaways that were very positive, from appreciating people, from connecting with homeless persons who played a large role in the movement, and creating that stir in the new conversations about inequality in our country. That really wasn't part of the news before the Occupy movement, and now it's commonplace to know what it means, the 1% versus the 99%. at the same time, they all have shared with me, too, frustrations about the movement and recognize the tensions there and recognize those learning moments. And I hope that I've captured, both sides of those things in the book, and that we can really learn from this movement. Movements always have their ups and downs, from, the civil rights movement to the New Left onward. Let's learn from these movements and make them better. And I found many people had that perspective too, even as they moved on. Occupy created that fire that they've kept active since then. So I also think that that's positive.
And I think that probably Occupy helped to create a framing that even if it isn't turned into public policy, or even if it isn't something that is, that generates ongoing public protest, I think the concept of the 1% versus the 99%, that framing was something that really came into clear relief during the Occupy movement. So I think a lot of folks at least understand that concept now. They may not be acting on it yet, but they at least get it. Heather, I appreciate your time this morning. The book is Are We the 99%? The Occupy Movement, Feminism and Intersectionality, and a lot of good stuff in there, including some things I think that we can take and learn about what's happening in our society today. Part of me gets depressed by it, but again, I think it was a good start a decade ago. And until your book crossed my desk, it's terrible to say, I kind of forgotten about it. Occupy was a big deal, and then it just sort of faded from view. But I appreciate your time this morning. I appreciate your book as well. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Great to chat with you.
All right, good talking to you. Heather Hurwitz is the author of that book, Are We the 99%? It's 8:35, 25 till the hour. Still, let me double check my temperature reading here. I'm going to check it at the airport. 66 degrees and cloudy at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport. We are still looking at, still no temperature change at all. 63. 63 degrees and cloudy here at my home studios, and 62 degrees at the Robinson Auto Group Studios, downtown Wheeling, in the heart of the Ohio Valley. Hey, our friend Jim Frio and Shane Stack have an auction underway. It is an online auction only. You can find out more info, of course, by going, as always, to auctionzip.com, where you can get the details. It will be, the bidding will close on Monday, this coming Monday, October 11th, at 10 o'clock. So it's an online auction only. The bidding is closing on Monday. It is, one of two auctions from the lifetime collection of Cecilia Boyd. Lots of antiques and collectibles, bookcase, Fenton art glass, Mercerware, Northwood lemonade set, Warwick china. Again, a lot of glassware that people might like to collect, a lot of local Masonic items as well, postcards, those kinds of things. So it is an online auction only. More info at auctionzip.com, or you can go to freeauctions.com and hit on their upcoming events as well. It's online auction only, so look and see what you're interested in. Place your online bid. The bidding does close this coming Monday, so I wanted to call that to your attention. Now, let's go to the news desk, see what's happening here in the Upper Ohio Valley. We'll check from the Big Seven, our morning headlines. It's time to get our Mountaineer report in. Tony Caridi is here to talk about the Mountaineers. Phone lines are open, 304-232-8255. Use them if you choose. And the text line is open, 304-214-1600. Always happy to have you on the text line as well. Watchdog Morning Show underway. It's a Thursday.
The WTRF Channel 7 News Update is brought to you by Thomas Auto.
Biff, I'm expecting Bob in this half hour.
ensuring it never goes to waste. Together, we can help end hunger. Learn more at zerohunger.zerowastefoundation.org.
Spending some time with WVU's offensive and defensive coordinators on today's report. We begin on the defensive side, where Jordan Leslie says there are some certain challenges that Baylor produces when it comes to trying to get the ball away from them.
That's a tough opportunity to come across. When the passes they do throw, they're high percentage type of throws for them. If you get a little greedy and you try to take that away, that's when they throw it 70 yards over your head. So not a lot of those opportunities. We've got to be really good at the point of contact in the run game to be able to do that, and then trying to get after the quarterback when we do have opportunities in the pocket, trying to affect the ball in that way. So yes, it is a challenge.
Over on the offensive side, Baylor's defense also presenting challenges. WVU's coordinator Jared Parker.
It goes back to it. Nothing really as you line up. You're right. I mean, it's not like there's anything you look out there and say this is easy. Great defenses, and the defenses we played make it hard. What you've got to do is make sure you have enough bullets, so to speak, to be able to go out and attack them in both phases, because things will dry up. They do a good job diagnosing. They do a great job game planning your tendencies. So what do you have to have? You got to have enough run game that fits you without getting too creative, and you've got to find a way to make those plays work in the fit, and then you've got to have enough to be able to attack them to create explosives, because going the long, hard way when 15, 12, 15, 18 long play drives is not healthy. That's the balance, but that's what they do well, is making you do that. So we've got to find ways to make those go and then create explosives as well to put ourselves in position to score points.
Yeah, Baylor's all about defense. Their head coach Dave Aranda was the coordinator at LSU when it won the national championship. That is today's Mountaineer Report. Has been brought to us by Kroger, the official grocer of WVU Athletics. I'm Tony Caridi on the Mountaineer Sports Network from Learfield.
I'm not buying till I checked on Ford.
Most of us are faced with uncertainty every day. Your job, your finances, sporting events. Ford, you can be certain that you always get a great deal and the best service afterwards. Being in business for over 50 years has given Doan Ford the reputation of being a strong, reliable dealership. Be certain. Choose Doan Ford. Online at doanford.com.
I'm not buying till I check Doan Ford.
I'm Andrew Saul, Commissioner of Social Security. Beware of telephone scammers pretending to be government employees. Real Social Security employees will never threaten you. Callers threatening you with arrest or other legal action and demanding money are not from us. If you receive a call like this, hang up, do not provide them with any form of payment or information. Report the call at oig.ssa.gov.
Hey, I'm going to the kitchen. Can I grab you a Coors Light?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Huh. I never knew there was a zip line in my fridge. Hey! Hey, buddy! Yeah? You got 2 Coors Lights up there?
You got it! Always brewed down to 34 degrees. With a taste as cold as the Rockies, only Coors Light gives you refreshment every time.
Here you go. 2 Coors Lights.
Awesome, man. Wow, these are really cold.
That's the only way I deliver it.
Sure. I mean, you being a mountain climber and all.
Yep.
You probably need a pretty warm coat in there, huh?
Yep.
Hey, Ben!
Yeah!
Ask him if he has any nachos.
You got any nachos in there?
No.
Just icy cold Coors Light?
Yep.
That makes sense. It is the Rockies.
Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. With great beer comes great responsibility.
A serious injury from an accident can be just the start of your worries. What if you cannot return to work? How do you take care of your family if you're disabled? At Gelner Law Offices, we represent seriously injured people and understand their problem. We know how to get you fair compensation. We will work hard to make sure you get the money you deserve for your losses. Don't go it alone. If you're hurt in an accident, call us at 304-242-2900 or visit us at gelnerlaw.com.
We'd like to help.
Now, during the Jim Robinson Ford Lincoln Toyota Pre-Owned Super Sale, select from over 80 vehicles in stock starting under $5,000. Most are local trades, many with one owner. Hurry to Jim Robinson at the Highlands, home of lifetime powertrain protection. Now, during the Jim Robinson Ford Lincoln Toyota Pre-Owned Super Sale, select from over 80 vehicles in stock starting under $5,000. Most are local trades, many with one owner. Hurry to Jim Robinson at the Highlands, home of lifetime powertrain protection.
The Watchdog prides itself in being involved in our community, and we want to hear from you. Does your organization have an event that you would like promoted on the radio? Please send us the details via our website, watchdognetwork.com. Just click on our contact page and fill the information. Live, local, and here for our community. Share your events with the Watchdog.
It's your turn to talk. From politics to pet peeves, get it off your chest and on the air. The Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe continues.
I just feel like I'm a punching bag here. Email, you can email me as well, radiomonroe@aol.com. Email Howard first. I support including the temperature from the airport. It's a beautiful gem of the valley. Thank you. Second, on the West Liberty University story, please don't use the word accuse. He did plagiarize as a statement of fact, not an accusation. Man, I can't do anything right today. Jiminy Christmas. No matter what I do, that's not right. I mean, from like given the temperature to the phrasing that I use to, but that's what we're here for. We're here to take the punches. Sometimes just throw the shoes and I'll catch them. 304-232-8255, the text, the CityNet hotline, and 304-214-1600 is our text line. Feel free to use it if you would like to. Well, our old buddy Bob is back with us again this morning. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning. How are you this morning?
How are you this morning?
You know what? I'm a little bit ticked off, Howard, and it's all because of you.
I knew it.
Well, not hey, you're just the messenger in this case. It was the headlines that ticked me off. But before, if you would, I'd like to take about 30 seconds to pay tribute to someone that I believe deserves it. Someone that later on today they're going to lay to rest. He just, to me, just a tremendous, tremendous man, a real gentleman who dedicated almost his whole life, over 90 years, of helping people, healing people. And I'm talking about Dr. Basil Papdemetrio. Again, Howard, I've lived in Wheeling like you my whole life. And there's just a small group of men that just make a difference, that you know are special, that you know have given much more than they've taken in this life. And I just wanted to share that with everybody. He just was a tremendous man.
Gotcha.
Now, here comes where I'm going to bitch a little bit. And I'll start with West Liberty. Now, this is my opinion. It seems to me that there is this group of faculty up there that show a lot of arrogance. A lot of, it's either our way or it's not going to work and we're going to throw you off the hill. And it used to be West Liberty, beautiful campus, beautiful school. You didn't hear too much of this. And it just seems like the last 10, 15 years, that's about all you get off of the hill, with just squabbling and this one particular group of faculty who just want to run it. Am I being fair or am I wrong here, Howard?
No, I think there's something to be said for that. There is, I wouldn't make it as negative as you are, but there's clearly, faculty has felt empowered in the last decade or so at West Liberty, and when they don't like something, they're very vocal about it.
More than vocal, Howard, they try to run you out of it.
Well, that's vocal, but yes, that's certainly true. And I don't think they've given up on the, look, Dr. Evans has acknowledged, yes, I used some, I took some information from other speeches and I used them in my own, and I did not source that when I said it out loud. He's acknowledged that. That's plagiarism. The Board of Governors has said, yes, we acknowledge that he did do this. We don't think it was an intentional thing, but we acknowledge he did it. So that's the case. but we're going to, certainly it's not a fireable offense in their mind. My question is, and the reason I tried to reach out to some of the faculty yesterday who did not want to respond to me, my question is, okay, what more do you want? What do you want now? All right, you have pointed this out, and the president has said, yes, I shouldn't have done that, and I did it. I won't do it again. I see now what you're talking about. The Board of Governors is aware of it. What more does the faculty want? And that's why I tried to reach out to several of them yesterday and did not get any response of anybody who wanted to talk about it.
Howard, this is way over my head, but isn't there a better way to doing it? Maybe having a meeting with three of the faculty and sitting down and saying, well, we have a little problem with this, and bring the facts, work things out behind closed doors instead of airing your dirty laundry out like they seem like they love to do up at West Liberty?
What I don't know, I'm trying to be fair here. I don't know whether that happened first or not. I don't know. Here's what I do know. I know that several days ago, I got a letter from faculty members. Well, I shouldn't say it that way. I got a letter that told me what this story was all about, all right? And within a day, then it became very public. And I don't know whether that letter came after they tried to resolve the problems internally and didn't, or whether they jumped the gun and went public with it. So I don't know. The answer to your question is the first solution always is to sit down and say, hey, we've got an issue here, let's work on it, before you go public and put a stain on your own institution's reputation. I don't know if that happened or not. I don't know.
See, but again, you're a gentleman and I'm not. It just seems to me that they just want to pop off a lot. It's like a group of people that's always demanding on seeing the manager. Something goes a little bit wrong, they got to throw a fit. And I'm just saying, ease up a little bit.
I like that analogy. I like that, yeah.
Well, good. I'm going to move on here, Howard, to a little more serious note. To the poor folks over there in Belmont County, neighbors of the deceased, the owners of Salsa Joe's.
Yes.
Again, I understand there's an ongoing investigation. But when does law enforcement find the need to calm the community a little bit and say, okay, we don't want to jeopardize the investigation, but we are going to share some things with you because we feel that it's necessary for your concerns and all of these rumors and stuff going out.
Yes.
Do you agree with that?
I do agree with that. I've heard a lot of rumors and gossip, so have you. I think some of it is true, some of what I've heard, but it hasn't been verified. I'm not going to talk about it on the radio. But I do think that the people of the community where this murder, the double murder occurred and the fire occurred, deserve to be given some sense of, was this a targeted incident? In other words, were these two people, and it seems to me clear that it was, but I think law enforcement needs to say it. Are the people of the neighborhood in danger of some stranger running around killing people and burning down buildings? Or was this specifically directed towards these two people and everybody else is okay? I think that's really important for the law enforcement folks to stand up and say. And I would agree with you. And they have specifically chosen not to do that. They are holding these cards close to the vest. I don't need to know who you're investigating. I don't need to necessarily know what lines of clues you're following. I don't need to know that. But at least stand up and say, so the people in the neighborhood say, ladies and gentlemen, these two people were clearly targeted for whatever reason. You don't have to tell me what reason. Just tell me that they were targeted so everybody else can relax. Nope, there's no serial killer wandering your neighborhood. I do agree with you. I think that's one thing that the police need to do and have not done.
I think there's almost an obligation to the public, especially that community, that neighborhood right there. There's an obligation.
Right.
And then I believe share what you can share. And maybe I'm wrong or maybe I'm not. But it seems to me that this was a different type. There was a message delivered with this. And I think it would ease a little bit of minds and maybe stop the gossiping if they would just reach out a little bit.
Well, again, I understand it's an investigation underway, and I'm very sensitive to that. And I don't need them to give me all the details or even a lot of details, but they need to say at least, they need to say specifically, this was a targeted crime. These people were targeted for a reason, we, the law enforcement, believe we know what it is. I don't want to say it yet because our investigation, they can do all that. But at least say, these people were targeted. Everybody else relax. There's no serial killer wandering your neighborhood. And I think they really owe it to the public to say that, if nothing else. And I don't want to delve into their investigation publicly, because from what I am gathering, this is a pretty deep story here. And they need to play it close to the vest a bit. But there's some things the public does need to know, and I agree with you. They're not being told that.
And you're right. And number one, you want these people caught, if it's possible. You want them caught and punished. But still, I think that they could come out and have a little common sense, a little decency here, and it would help the cause.
I
but,
agree.
Hey, and thank you, Howard, for riling me up and giving me a chance to say what I said about Dr. Papadimitriou, and you have a great day.
It's what we're here for, pal.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, thanks a lot. Yeah, I do. On this Strushin case over in Belmont County, I do agree with Bob. The one thing, and I've said this all along, I think law enforcement, Biffy, needs to say is this was, and I get it. I really do. I get that they're trying to be careful. And they don't want to reveal too much because there's an investigation underway, and I get it. But the people of the neighborhood have to know that, need to be told, if there's a serial killer running around, or if the investigation is centered on the perpetrator of the crime specifically targeted these folks. I'm pretty sure that's the case, but you got to say that. And other than that, I don't need more details. Got a text earlier, Howard, you say, who do you interview? Well, if the Strushin murders, interview the prosecutor, the sheriff, the police. Well, in point of fact, all of those folks have offered public comment. We have, it's been very limited. In fact, when the sheriff offered his first comments in a press event, and I was watching it online, I wasn't there, but I was watching it online, I thought, oh my God, no reporters ask any questions. I was later told, no, he didn't take any questions. He's not responding to questions from reporters. So to the extent that the folks involved in the investigation are going to say things, they have already said them. So I'm being criticized a lot here today on this subject. I'm not going to try and delve into the investigation itself until they're ready to talk about it, and they have talked about it as far as they want to go. The same person also says on Mark Thomas, interviewed the Belmont County Sheriff, the St. Clairsville Police. They have nothing to do with this. It's a federal crime. Interview the lady's family. I don't know who the lady is. She's not named in the indictment. Don't act like we as an audience are stupid. How many times did you interview the prosecutor from Southern West Virginia about the Clarksburg veterans' death? The answer, by the way, is none. I never did that. When you're a friend of Monroe, you get a pass on the show. Jeez. Bad juju out there today, Biffy.
Maybe it's the warm weather.
That's probably what it is. After I complained about the weather, now people are going to complain about me. It's all right. You can do it. Text line 304-214-1600. Feel free to text. The CityNet hotline 304-232-8255. We're going to get some political stuff in West Virginia coming up next hour. Lisa Zukoff is going to join us, delegate from Marshall County, to talk about redistricting. Also want to talk a bit about that education forum held in Marshall County earlier this week. It's coming up after ABC covers the world right now.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
The ABC News is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
From ABC News.
Boom, 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 boom.